we're not going to be impacted. It's going to come home to roost for us sooner or later. And we're going to have to deal with it when it does and be part of the answer for the state of Connecticut. But what we have to do is look at it and say, how do we become a powerhouse again? How do we become that center of finance, of insurance? And it really is a question for the whole state, not just for us, but we're going to be a part of it. For the moment, my goal was and remains reduce spending. One of the things that's always bothered me was the dependency we had on the state. That needs to end. We reduced our spending by $416,000 for the current budget that we have. That's over last year's spending. We've got to do more, and we have to continue to move in that direction. There are ways to do it. We're going to have to find other ways to get the money that we need. We're going to have to find ways to stop the spending.
Thank you.
There we go. Thank you.
Irene, you have 3 minutes.
As an unaffiliated candidate for the first Selectman, I've been attending meetings and events, hosting meets and greets, going door to door to reach out and discover what truly matters to the citizens of East Haddam. Collectively, while we all value our hometown and its assets, we can do better. I've lived in East Haddam for over 20 years. I've raised a family here. I've been active in the East Haddam school system, where my daughters have attended kindergarten through graduation. I have owned and operated a business in town and paid taxes here. I understand your concerns, and I hear you. My plan is to work hard for East Haddam, and I have some specific priorities in mind. As we move many of the town functions from the village to the new municipal building in Moodus, I will ensure the current town property is developed in a way that contributes the greatest economic growth to East Haddam while preserving the character of our village, including a vibrant Goodspeed Opera House. I would love to see the village district more walkable and thrive as a charming place to enjoy views of the Connecticut River, shop with local businesses, and dine at all the restaurant offerings. But we do not only have one town center. I want to create a sense of place for Moodus, concentrating on that economic growth by encouraging new retail, offices, and possibly even a movie theater along Falls Road at 149. At one time, it was the center of commerce, and I think it can be again. The area from the Senior Center and Heritage Park, all the way down to the new town hall and the high school seems very ripe with unrealized potential. We have strong local businesses there, but there are remaining opportunities, and we can fill those gaps. With sensible development, we can attract complementary businesses that would augment what we already have and help us reach a critical mass that would allow us to keep our hard-earned dollars here in town. Wouldn't it be nice to do all our errands right here on a Saturday morning? I want to promise you regular communication from Town Hall to the citizens of East Haddam with a newsletter and prompt updates to our website. In the newsletter, you will have updates about what we're working on, where you can help, and upcoming events. You will also see a refreshed website with up-to-date meetings, agendas, and minutes. Life is busy, and you may not be able to get to the things that you want to get to. We're going to help you stay informed. I will also have a button on the website called Mythbuster. If you see a rumor on social media or we hear about it in the grapevine, we're going to publish the facts right there on the website. You can look it up. We will build town-wide collaboration with town departments, commissions, community organizations, business organizations, and schools by meeting at least quarterly to create awareness and cooperation. Lastly, East Haddam is fortunate to have many assets, and I'm going to work with you to make it the best place there is to live.
Thank you. Irene, question number 1 goes to you first. A reader asks, with regard to the relocation of town offices, and we quote, "I'd like to hear specific and new ideas on how each candidate would attract the developers, investors required to finally make East Haddam Village project a reality."
The East Haddam Village property has been in the works for a long time. Goodspeed Opera House has talked about putting in a new theater. They talked about going up to Middletown. Then we had more property to deal with. Now we have a situation where it looks like we're going to vacate that property and move into our brand new, beautiful town hall that they're working on. So now we have a beautiful piece of property that's very marketable right on the Connecticut River. You all know this. We do need to put in new businesses in there. There are stipulations right now where we have to take a look at what the ground looks like underneath the town garage. We first have to do that so we know what we're dealing with. We do have a village revitalization committee currently meeting and working with the EDC on ideas and plans as to what could be done there. As I get into place, I want to hear from more of you. I want you and your ideas to come to the table as well. It's not going to be about what two committees are doing. It's what we all want, and we'll work our very best to make it, again, the most economic, feasible idea possible for East Haddam, that they can thrive with that and what's going on there.
Thank you. Emmett, would you like the question again?
I'm sorry?
Want me to repeat the question?
I got it right.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead. The village area is probably the prettiest area we've got. It's a spectacular location on the river. All sorts of ideas have been formulated over the years. I've got more plans in my office than I can count. Probably the most important is a survey that was done a number of years ago, about 10 years ago, for soil. At that point, we did a complete survey of the property with the exception of the area underneath the town garage. We found that there was some pollution in there was some difficulty. That's all been corrected. All that's left right now is the town garage. A lot of discussion about what to do with that garage, remove it, and some people want to leave it. It has a pretty spectacular look inside when you get in there. I've seen some ideas on it. We're going out for bid right now to do the drilling in the town garage to find out what's under it. Once we do that, we're going to know what we have. There's a great deal of interest going on right now. There are people that we've been in contact with, people who have looked at it. I've conducted a number of tours of the property. There is interest in that. There's going to be a whole lot more. We have to keep in mind, in the past years, we were always saying somewhere down the road, this land's going to be available. Wouldn't you like to get investing in it right now? Well, it's changed. We are going to be moving. People are going to be moving into that property. It is going to be used, and there is a lot of opportunity for us. The theater is certainly going to be part of whatever happens. We also have other interests that we're exploring right now. We've been out with RFPs in the past. We're going to do it again. It's a, okay. It is a spectacular property. One of the interesting things Bob Kasner proposed with it, there's an enormous rock that kind of blocks your view of the river from the parking lot. He commented that could be removed very easily. Cost about $60,000. I'd like to do it.
Thank you. Question number 2, Emmett, you're first. At this critical time for the town's development, would you recommend the hiring of a town planner to help with the village planning and other projects and to apply for grants?
Okay, I served on planning and zoning for 18 years, and we did an awful lot of planning. We had a planner when I first came on board, and it's something that we've looked at. We looked at CREC, had them come down and take a look at it. That's a state organization that's more than willing to do planning for you. And we asked them to look at not only the village, but Moody's as well. And they've been looking at Haddam on top of that. When we looked into the cost of doing it, it was quite expensive. I think before we have a real understanding of what the property is, what we have to offer, and a sense of what the town wants to do with it, we really are ahead of the game if we get a planner now. One of the things that I want to do, once we know what the property has, what the pollution is, if there is any, I want to bring the town together. I want to get a consensus from people in forums of exactly how you see that. How do you want us to use it? It could be a great big garden. It could be a commercial district. It could be a hotel. There's a lot of different uses, each one of which can contribute to the town. But we need ideas from more than just a few people. We need everyone in town looking at it, thinking about it, coming back to us, and then maybe we do get a planner. It will be expensive, but it'll probably be well worth it at that point. The planners, as I say, are not cheap. You really have to know where you're going, give them an idea of what you want, and then they can take it from there. And I do think that if we get a planner, he's got to be looking at more than just the village. He has to be looking at Moody's as well. There's a tremendous potential up there that we can take advantage of. We don't want to let it go. I moved in here in 1970 when it was just a pile of earth and rocks. It really hasn't been improved as much as it ought to by now. It needs to be taken care of.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Irene?
I had a conversation with Jim Ventris. He is our land use coordinator in our town hall, and talked to him about the village, what plans we've had, as Emmett referred to. We've had a number of plans from, I think the earliest one that he showed me was 1998. We've done a lot of planning. We do need to get more input from the townspeople that we have right now in town, absolutely. It's all about collaboration, and I believe in that. But at the same time, we have to start looking at this as something that can earn us income. And what's the best way to use that property? We actually have a plan right now that we're going to take to the village revitalization meeting on the 25th of this month. You are all welcome to go to that meeting if you would like and see what everybody's talking about. I encourage you all to do that. But we have a plan where we're going to put in a road that's going to make it, number one, easy to get on and off that bridge, much cleaner, much easier. And then it also opens up the whole property where we can put in more parks, more retail, nice little shops, coffee places, all those kinds of things. But it also encompasses the entire area, not just right there in that product, on that property that we have right now. What it's doing is it's incorporating the whole area, the whole village, not just that one piece of property. It's about 2 acres. There's more to the village than just that. We have to start looking down the road. We have to look 40 and 50 years down the road. What's going to work today and what's going to work then? And then we do it once. We don't do little Band-Aids here and there. We have to do the whole project. So if we are going to even think about getting a town planner in, we've got to look much farther down the road. But we can use more of the property in town as a cohesive plan for the entire village, not just the town hall property.
Thank you. Question number 3, Irene first. How will you mitigate the inevitable disruption that will be caused by the upcoming Connecticut DOT repairs to the River Swing Bridge?
About a year and a half ago, when there was first a blip on the radar about this project, the East Haddam Business Association, I was the president of, went and started talking to people. We went and talked to the River Cops, which is the group of the whole entire Middlesex County area that talks about the, the tourism and everything else that goes on in town. They are a good liaison to the DOT. So we talked to them. We talked to the chambers. We went to the meetings to find out what's going on. From that first day that I got involved in this, the one thing that I was really concerned about, because I was the president of the EHBA, was that the businesses are going to suffer from this. We're all going to suffer too. Some of us have been here long enough to remember the paving debacle and everything else. But the bottom line is that businesses are going to lose income. People are not going to come across that bridge if it's a tie-up. They're going to head up to Middletown. They're going to head down to Saybrook. And when they do that for 2 years, because that's how long this project is going to be, they're going to forget about people who they can get in East Haddam and things that they can do in East Haddam that they did before. Because now the new route works. So we have to, a bunch of different things. But one of the things that we have to do is we have to work with the DOT and we have to work with the towns to figure out the best way to get that traffic moving and the least amount of disruption. Even Goodspeed is upset about this. They want to close that bridge down for an entire half a day. When are they going to do that? I have been asking for night work since the very beginning. They say it's way expensive. It doesn't matter. It's more expensive to the economies of the 2 towns for that. So we need to really address that, and they have to start listening to us in regards to that. That's going to be huge, and we need to address it right now. And I've been doing it for a year and a half already.
Thank you. Emmett?
We saw what happened when they did 2 bridges on Route 82 going up the hill, and how disruptive that was for our businesses. That's the biggest thing going. The 82 bridge over the river is going to be a complete and utter disaster. We've been talking to DOT already, made it very clear that they don't even begin to appreciate the number of cars that go across that bridge every single day. We've asked them to come back for further traffic studies. The idea of having a single lane for a prolonged period of time with a light on each end, and you let traffic go one way then the other, you'll have traffic backed up to Route 9 and halfway to Saybrook. And you don't have to do anything except go down there on a Wednesday afternoon at the point where all the traffic is coming home, coming across the bridge. Goodspeed Opera House is letting out, and it's basically the senior housing, the assisted living with all of their buses. I've had to have a traffic cop down there every single Wednesday in the afternoon just to try to straighten it out. The impact of a project as long as they're proposing here on a company like Shagbark, Alex, all the other businesses in towns, I can only echo what Irene has said. It's going to be disastrous. How do we mitigate what's happening to them at that point? And to be perfectly honest, we're trying to put together plans for the village. And what investor, or corporation, or what entity of any sort is going to be seriously interested in developing that property when the bridge is going to be out of commission to the extent that it's going to be for 2 years? There's a whole lot we have to talk about. Working at night certainly helps. We've talked about that already and indicated that we really want it to happen. But this is going to be a biggie. We have to deal with it and with the DOT.
You're up next. Keep the mic on. Question number 4. Emmett, you're first. What is your development plan, if any, for Moody's?
I should have paid attention. I come twice in a row there. Moody's is a very special case. We're going to move the offices up there. It's going to make it far more attractive. Moody's is an ideal location for all sorts of businesses, for the opportunities to have stores and services and material and items there that we don't have anywhere else in town. We're already seeing some of that. JAD is proposing a refurbishment of what was the doctor's office there, Dr. Gorley's offices. It's going to become a business building. There's space available up there. There's no good reason why that shouldn't flourish. Probably the one thing that's going to be a handicap on it is septic. And we've already diagnosed that, taken a good look at it, and realized that we have some problems. We're going to have to find a way to solve that. But that's probably the best area in the town for commercial development that we have. We have Brownells down below. They have space. There's some issues there, but that's for manufacturing, light manufacturing. That's absolutely ideal. So we have space available. We have the land area available. We have an interest. We're going to have the town hall up there, which is going to make that a center of commerce, a center of interest for the whole town. That's where people are going to go to get whatever it is they need. So I think that in the long run, the prospects for Moody's are exceptionally good. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. And we already are seeing that, as I said, that Dr. Gorley's building being converted, having companies move in from out of town and be able to do what they want to do in that area. The expansion of the Moody's Plaza. About the one thing that we really do need up there, and we don't have in town, is a Dunkin' Donuts. And you always look across the river. They've got 3 of them in Haddam. We don't have any.
Irene?
Moody's is a great place, and it was once the center of commerce for East Haddam. And we all went through the newspaper when they put in the 6-part series of articles in regards to what happened with the last revitalization. We have an area that's about a mile wide, going from the Senior Center and Heritage Park down to our new municipal building. It's going to be a great place with additional people working down there from the town hall, as well as what's going on in town right now as far as the development that Emmett was speaking of, Cadence 360, their office space up above. They're bringing kids and families into East Haddam. It's a great place. Monique and John are doing a great job. But there can be more. There's gaps. There's gaps that can be filled in with other businesses. The biggest problem is septic, is sewers. We need to figure out that sewer system. We have to put one in. Is there a steep grant out there that may pay for that? We're going to look into that. If we can get a sewer system in there, then we now open it up to a whole bunch of other ideas, a whole bunch of great ideas. New restaurants, coffee shops, all kinds of things. The Falls Road area between 7-Eleven and Dr. Gorley's office, prior Dr. Gorley's office, now Cadence 360, that whole area was a wonderful strip of all kinds of old buildings. You saw that in the pictures. We can put that in again, there's still room. We can do that. I think, and this is a crazy idea, but I think we can put in a movie theater. We're always looking for things to do in town. A movie theater would be fabulous. If we did it like a theater where you go and you eat, like a cafe theater, it would be awesome. You wouldn't need a lot of movies there, 1 or 2 a week, but it would be a great addition to East Haddam and to Moody's. There's wonderful ideas in there. We have to make it happen, and I can do that.
Thank you. Question number 5, I read here first. Why doesn't East Haddam have a town charter, and what would a charter mean for town government?
East Haddam doesn't have a town charter because, I've only been here 23 years, but I think because we started with the Selectman form of government. What a town charter could mean to us is it would ease the ordinance structure of our town. It would give us new ways to generate additional monies, streamline operations, and provide more consistency. If anybody's been reading the East Haddam and the Haddam News, in the East Haddam News, there is articles about the charter that is being revised over in Haddam that can give you a whole wealth of information as to what town charters mean. The issues as to why commission boards have appointments where others are elected can be made uniform. Election of select people can be modified, and the process and the number of persons and length of times can be changed. Charters make doing business easier for towns. It's a great idea. Some statutes right now are in place that are old. We are working on a new ordinance book, and that's supposed to be coming out in draft form on the website any day now. But it's still a process, and that process gets streamlined when we put a charter in place. It's a lot of work to put a charter in place. It's a whole new way of thinking, but I think it could work in East Haddam. There are plenty of towns in Connecticut now that have moved from the Selectman form of government into the charter. Charter will still run similarly. There will still be town meetings, there will still be select preschool, there will still be votes, etc. But a charter just streamlines the day-to-day operations of a town. It's well worth considering.
Thank you. Emmett?
Town charter. There we go. Town charter. There's 2 forms of government that you can have for towns in Connecticut. You can have small town government, and you can have the charter. Small town government is run by the state of Connecticut. All of our boards, elected boards, commissions, officials, do not answer to the first selectman. They don't answer to the town. They answer to the Secretary of State. If there's a complaint, if there's an issue, you have to go there. State sets all the rules for how the town is run, how elections are done, terms of office, everything. It's an old system. It works well. There are 115 towns in the state of Connecticut that now have charters. There are 54 remaining without them. East Haddam's one of those. Charter takes about 2 years to put in. What does it give you? All of a sudden, you're running your town. You can set it up almost any way you want. Salem set it up. They changed the terms for the selectmen. The first selectman gets elected every 2 years. 3 selectmen get elected for 4-year terms. Other than that, it's essentially what the state had. The big benefit there is that the state cannot legislatively change our ordinances. Right now, the state passes a law, the town of East Haddam has to modify whatever regulations, ordinances, or whatever we have to conform to the state. Once we have a charter, that stops. We run the town, we're in charge. We kind of grow up in the process. And it's something that I've advocated for many, many years. I served on a charter study committee many years ago. We elected not to move forward at that point. I would think that we're at the point now where we should be moving forward on looking at a charter for the town of East Haddam. We should be running our own town, not having the state run it for us.
Thank you. Keep your mic on. Question number 6. While the specifics are still unknown, state funding to towns like East Haddam is expected to be dramatically less in the coming years. Efficiency is going to do so much. Voters want to know where you would recommend cuts in services and programs. Please give specifics. That is, where are we spending too much?
I can tell you, I've been around this for 10 years now, and we have cut and cut and cut. There aren't very many places where we're spending too much. There are efficiencies that we can realize. I've started an effort to get going with the transfer station. That's one area where we are wasting enormous amounts of money. $600,000 a year to run that transfer station. $401,000 of that goes just taking stuff up to Willimantic and getting rid of it. State feels that we ought to be recycling about 50%. We recycle about 23%. 9,000 tons and 3,200 tons that are not being recycled. 50% would increase that by about 1,000 tons. We pay $70 a ton to get rid of stuff that isn't recycled. $70,000 that we shouldn't be spending. 1,000 tons. We also get $5 a ton for recycles in our favor. That's $5,000. My best estimate is somewhere between $85,000 and $90,000 to be saved by this town if we simply started recycling. We're working with DEEP right now. They have a SMART program. Kristen Brown has been already to visit me. We're going up for a tour of the transfer station. DEEP, through the SMART program, is going to evaluate what we're doing, offer us a plan to revise that and make sense out of it. And there are 34 towns that have already done that. They're very successful with it. I think we need to be on board with them again. At $80,000 to $100,000 in one shot, and then we look for other opportunities. We have to save a tremendous amount of money, and that's certainly going to have to...
Thank you. There we go. Irene, please.
Every position, job function, contract, and any kind of management plan needs to be scrutinized carefully. I don't have a specific, I think it's all across the board. We need to look at every single line on our budget. We need to see what we're doing in shared services. How is that helping? Where are we saving? Where are we not saving? We need to look at every single item. We need to look at public works. We need to look at our salaries. We need to look at our schools. We need to look at every single line on that budget and look for ways to cut. At the same time, we need to look at ways to increase our revenues. We need to work on our grand list. Our grand list needs help. There's only so many of us in town right now paying taxes. What can we do to bring more people in to create a better grand list to help us pay the taxes? We are headed for a serious wake-up call in regards to this state budget. We're already experiencing it. We didn't get the right check this month. The check was a fraction of what it's supposed to be. We have to face that. We all have to face that. Are we going to get supplemental tax bills? We don't even know that yet because we don't know what Malloy is doing. But in the meantime, we do have to look for every single line to find where we can find to cut so we don't need that state money. What can we do to live without that state money or some of that state money? That's what we're going to need to do, and we're going to start on day one. November 8th, I'll be looking at the budget first.
Thank you. Question number 7, Irene, you're first. East Haddam's population has stagnated since 2010, and school enrollment is down. What would you do to make the town more attractive to young people and young families?
Young people and young families are moving in. Our population is going down because some of our older folks who have now since retired are downsizing, or they're leaving to go somewhere south. But we do have young families coming in. And through the economic growth and development plans that I have, those families are going to have something to do here in town. That's what I think is the most important thing, is we have to start building toward keeping people entertained and having a good time in East Haddam. We have beautiful assets in East Haddam. We have gorgeous trails. We need to market those trails so the young families can go camping and hiking. That's what we need to do, is we need to market this town better. I had a meeting with Brian Perry. I told Brian, we need to market our schools. We have wonderful school programs in this town. We have STEM. It's amazing. We have a robotics team in the middle school. We have talented and gifted in the middle school. We have a music program that's second to none. My daughter is now at Gettysburg College becoming a music teacher. And Mr. Blaine at the middle school and Rosemary Evans here at the high school helped her do that. We have tremendous things here in East Haddam for young families and young children. We have a good preschool program. That's a brand new program that started 3-4 years ago. That's a wonderful program. Those young families need to know about that. So we need to market our town better to the people as they come in the door. We now have a brand new economic development coordinator in Town Hall. She's there 2 days a week to work with businesses. We need somebody to work with the families as they come in too.
Thank you. Emmett, please.
East Haddam, yeah, there we go. East Haddam has to think outside of the box. We want the young millennials, the people to come here. I've got a son who's a millennial, loves to rock climb, bike, hike, run through the woods. I'd like to see us put in a greenway all the way from the village area down to West Castle. That's possible to do. We could make it an incredible place for young people to look and be part of this community. And if you look at what's going on in the town today, think about what's successful. We have the theater. We have Julia Balfour. Ideas. That's what she works with on a computer. iPark. We have some very vibrant and wonderful things going on. We have a tremendous colony of artists within the town doing great artwork. If we start thinking about ideas and culture and art as something that we can market, something that can be part of this community, and that we can make it grow, and we have a beautiful, wonderful environment to begin with, very attractive to young people, we can market that whole concept. We're going to need the regular stuff, restaurants, outlets, shopping, whatever. But if we can really become a cultural center for Connecticut, and the opportunity is here, think about all the theaters surrounding us along the shore, up to Ivoryton. This is really a cultural center, and we have one of the most beautiful parts of it, and we can market that, and we can use that as a basis. The whole village has to be involved, not just our property. Everyone down there has to be part of an answer in making this town bloom. And I believe we can do it. And that should be our future, that should be our goal, that should be what we're working for.
Thank you. Keep your mic on. Keep your mic on. Question number 8. Will additional
Open space.
Will acquiring additional open space be one casualty of tighter budgets?
I've been involved with every piece of open space we've bought for the last 25 years. I'm an outdoor guy. I hike, even at my age. I've still got a lot to do. Grand Canyon rim to rim is one of the things I've done. I like open space, but we don't have the money right now for a big investment in it. That doesn't mean we say no if the right parcel comes along. That greenway that I'm talking about may take a little bit of an investment. We've got a scenic easement going in on the airport. Amongst the successors that Tim Mellon is naming is the town. If that becomes available, I'm going to be on board fast. That'd be a recreational center. That's allowed by a scenic easement. That would be an area that we could go down and have sports, picnicking, boardwalks on the water. That could be frontage for the town. I really feel that I want more open space. We just don't have the money for it right now. We can't invest in it at this point. unless it's really spectacular, over the top, something that we absolutely have to have. There are such properties, but only if those show up am I going to be interested. I guess I have another second or two. Okay. Now, speaking of open space, we have so much of it right now, and I don't see nearly enough people out enjoying it. If you go down, and the Harris property has got all sorts of trails. They link all the way down to the Hatch property on Mill Road. You can get a tremendous hike. You can actually go all the way down to Niantic if you start down at 82. And I'm trying to remember what the name of the property is there, but it's right across from Fox Hop Yard. Wonderful little bridge, wonderful hike as far as Niantic if you want to do that. We do have the opportunities. We should be making more use of it.
Irene, please.
I'll tell you guys a little story. About a week into our plans to run for first selectman and selectman, Rob called me and says, Irene, I have a question for you. And I said, sure, what's the question? He said, how do you feel about open space? I said, are you kidding? Open space? I want to put a moratorium on all open space. We can't afford it. We shouldn't buy it. We've got plenty of it. Let's learn what we've got, learn about what we have, and go from there. And he says, well, we've got a problem. And I said, why? What's the problem? Well, I'm the chairman of the Open Space Committee. And I said, I don't think we have a problem. Talk to me, educate me. And he did. I went to open space meetings. He told me it's 1% of our budget, sometimes 2%, if there's a attractive piece of property that's worth doing. And they are linking the properties that they're buying to one to another so that there is a greenway. East Haddam is thinking forward when they look at these open space parcels. I did tell them that we will look at it real hard. We will look at our budget, and if there is money in the budget, we could look at it. We all have to look at it. It's our job as citizens of East Haddam to look at all these open spaces and make sure that it's a good idea or a bad idea. Some of these open space parcels that they're talking about are gifts to the town. We're not paying a dime for these parcels. Some of them do require some money. Some of that money comes from grants. So we have to educate ourselves, find out what the parcels are all about. They spend a long time looking at these parcels, educating themselves on the parcels, looking at them, trying to figure out what's there, what's not there, how they're developable, if they're not developable, or they are. If they are developable, they are trying to save us thousands of dollars in infrastructure to have a developer come in and put up several houses. So think about the cost of development versus the cost of buying a piece of property.
Thank you. That's it for our questions. It is now time for closing remarks. And Irene, you go first. You have 3 minutes.
Vision, collaboration, and communication, that is my promise. As you've heard, I have a vision for East Haddam. I see a vibrant riverfront village, shops, restaurants, and greenscapes, where events, festivals, and theater bring locals as well as tourists to enjoy East Haddam Village. We need to finally realize the potential promised so many years ago in Moodus. Between businesses who have invested here already, and now virtually all of our municipal elements will be within a mile of each other, there is tremendous opportunity in Moodus. Recreation, arts, history, we have so much. We need to get the word out. We cannot accomplish this with insiders-only approach. We all need wide, town-wide collaboration to help ensure our vision and assets contribute to a meaningful and sustainable economic growth. We have many hard fiscal decisions to make, and it will take a committed team. I hope you will join me, all of you. My administration will work with anyone interested in contributing to the effort, and I will spend my term reaching out to the people of this town. I will communicate. I promise you, you will know what is going on. Communication is the key. The town website will be updated promptly, including the new feature, the Mythbuster. I hope to add a regular column to the newspapers so you know what we're working on, where we can help, and in addition, my door is always open. In 2014, as president of the EHBA, I had a meeting with all the businesses in town and the first selectman. And from that meeting, we established we needed a place where businesses and the town could go to get their information. That's how the East Haddam News came about. Together with a team of committed volunteers, we set out to create it, and we had a vision for a place for these individuals and organizations that could share news and events. The businesses had a place to advertise and grow their enterprises. That was over 2 years ago, and to this day, every week, that paper is in the black. We established a relationship with Haddam News. They came to us because they liked the paper so much. To run for this office, I resigned the position and am no longer involved in the paper. However, it is something that I'm extremely proud of. I thank the volunteers who are carrying it forward for the people of East Haddam, and I thank them for sponsoring this event.
Thank you. Emmett, please.
I'm looking forward to all the challenges that we have ahead of us right now. We have to control our spending, reduce it as best we can, identify what really is important within the town, make sure we maintain it, and keep it going. Our office being relocated to Moodus is going to make a dynamic difference both in the village and in Moodus. The opportunities in the village have to be realized. That's why we have the revitalization committee going again. That's why they're meeting with the economic development committee. We're holding joint meetings. Those are incredibly successful, and we're moving the whole project very fast. We're going to have answers. We're going to have the town involved. We're going to make that happen. The offices in Moodus are going to change completely. The dynamics up there. There's going to be interest. There's going to be more people going out for lunch. There's going to be more shopping. There's hopefully going to be people building and moving in there and taking the opportunities that are being created and bearing fruit for the town and for themselves in the process. I remain very committed to recycling and reworking the transfer station. There's a lot of problems up there. There is a lot of opportunity up there. And that's something that we're going to have a transfer committee. We've got 3 volunteers right now. We need a couple more to get that going. If anyone else there is interested, please contact my office. One of the key things we have to do with whatever we go forward with, East Haddam's a very special place. I can't tell you the number of people that I've talked to who have told me the story of how they got here. They came down here for some other purpose, to visit someone. Something was available for sale somewhere, tag sale or something. They took one look at the town, they started looking for a house. And they never regretted that decision afterwards. We have a rural charm, a beauty, a historic character that people just fall in love with on the spot. And that's something that we have to be so careful that we don't lose. We don't want to be a Glastonbury. At least I don't. I hear a complaint from time to time. There's no shoe store in town. You know what? I'm here because there's no shoe store in town. I don't need a shoe store here. There's a lot of things I don't need here because I've got so much more that I've found in this town. I've got 3 grandchildren across the street, and you can't beat that. And 600 daylilies my wife has planted in the gardens. We have a gorgeous place. We live in a gorgeous town. I want to keep it that way, and I'm willing to dedicate what time I have left to doing that.
Thank you. I want to thank our readers for some great questions, thank the candidates for some very good answers, and now will be the time you can applaud. Thank you.
Just this. For 30 years, I waited for someone to help with the communication in this town. We were desperate. We lost the Middletown Press. We lost the Courier. They used to get reporters down here all the time. They don't anymore. And we went through a long period where we had one thing or another that never really worked out. The East Haddam News came on board. No, I'm just not closing. I'm just thanking them. for doing this and telling them how impressed I am with what they are and what they've done and how much they mean to the town.